Peace and blessings. So my name is Carlos Walker, and this is Black Authors Matter, Art and Hustle. Today we have Mr. Tyree Whitworth with us. Peace and blessings, bro. How you feeling today?
Peace and blessings. I'm feeling great.
If you
It's been
will,
a
oh, go ahead.
it's been a journey, especially getting on the screen with you. My brother. you be going. You be always on the move.
Hey, it feels like it sometimes. Sometimes I feel like I ain't doing enough.
Well, that's where relaxation and working on yourself and taking time to yourself comes into play.
Yes. So, if you will, share a little bit about who you are and what you do.
My name is Tyree Whitworth, like my brother said. I'm an author, entrepreneur, poet, and spoken word artist. Um, Everything I do is outside of the box. Being a Black author in the romance industry is less than 0.5%. And that's because Black men, especially men in general, but Black men, they don't speak about how they feel about romance and drama.
Mhm.
So I decided to step in an environment where we are not. Just like when it comes to my entrepreneurship or my poetry, speaking about, yeah, as far as my entrepreneurship and my books, being outside of the box is something that most of us don't do.
Mhm.
Society wants to keep us in their box. And that's what I've done most of my life, is attempt to be inside their box instead of using my own path and discovering who I am and being outside of the box. So I started doing that, allowing the universe to show me exactly which way to go and to realize that I don't have to go according to their plan.
Mhm.
And once we all start realizing that we don't have to go according to their plan, then we start on our self discovery journey.
This is true.
So I realized that going according to my own plan and allowing the universe to show me the ways, I found out the reason why I am the way I am with words is because it's actually in my lineage, because of the background of who my family is. And then I started to discover that I have a presence. I have a presence to be able to put a message out there and get people to actually understand it by using my words. So my first book, Entangled Desires, A Tale of Love and Betrayal, depicts what me as a Black man sees relationships and what they have become today.
Mhm.
Leaving what we used to have as the father, the mother, the child in the house home, to where I see it as most women of today would rather leave their family for their happiness, and most men, and I mean good men, would put their happiness aside to keep their family together,
Mhm.
because that's what's most important. Having a two family home is what is most important to a good man, and especially a good Black man, because most of us didn't grow up with fathers.
Mhm.
So that's how I see it. As a woman would rather like the new and exciting, and then eventually they find out that, hey, the grass is not always green on the other side.
Mm-mm.
That's one of
Man.
the reasons why I watch Tyler Perry and, Think Like a Man and things like that. That 80-20 rule is definitely true.
Yes.
And I'm going through that situation now. You
You could
know,
be you could have 80 in home and you chasing after 20.
and then you lose what's really most important,
The family.
the family. And it's supposed to be family first. So It also goes back to a lot of mental health issues. That can definitely tear a family apart, especially if you're not getting the help that you know you need, or the help that you've been running from because you don't want to listen to what other people say.
Mhm.
So all of my books and my novels, even my children's series, goes back to the mental health issue in this society. Entangled Desires depicts multi-personality disorder, which means struggling to self-identify and struggling to be themselves. It deals with revenge, it deals with anger, it deals with obsession, it deals with a lot of mental health issues that come from past traumas. And we all, it doesn't matter what background we come from some type of past trauma. Like for myself, my childhood traumas created the person that I am today. But 7 years ago, I wasn't the person that I am today.
Mm.
Going through the system since probably like two, and being a foster child steered my life the way it is today. But what I've learned is just because you have a past doesn't determine your future.
No, not at all.
And you and we've spoken. I've been a felon since 17. I'm working on expunging my record as we speak in the state of Florida, I mean in the state of Maryland.
Pre-
You know, because that was 20 years ago. That
Mhm.
person that I was 20 years ago isn't the person that I am today. And if we start looking at people as the people we are today and not the negativity that we used to put out there, then the world would be a better place.
Come on now.
And that's where Entangled Desires comes into play, because we continue to look at what people are from their past instead of who they are today. We hold that anger, that aggression, the jealousy in us, and really all we're doing is not only tearing us apart, but we're tearing other families apart, just because we don't know how to deal with our emotions. And becoming emotionally intelligent is key to any relationship in this world.
And the evolution of people.
Agreed.
To your point, people meet different versions of you. You meet different versions of you, from the young man who caught that felony when they was 17, to 7 years ago, this person that you were 7 years ago, to the person that you are now. Depending on who met you in this cycle, they got to meet different versions of you. This is the best version. It's a more aware, more emotional intelligence, psychologically intelligent, um, spiritual, and everything. Where the person, when you were 17, was young, probably way more energy, but about self.
Right.
Where
Agreed.
the person that you are now or the person you were 7 years ago was way still more intelligent than the 17-year-old. Still may have been a little selfish, but at the same time still evolving. But this person today, this is the elevated stage of you, and it's another stage and another stage. But it's who met you where, how they perceive you. Kind of to your point, if we look at the person today and have an understanding of that person from yesterday, then we can respect where you're at and where you're going.
Right.
And we should be able to give this person a chance. Not that person, because that person, while I may understand it, I also understand that that person evolved.
Agreed. And that's where the emotional intelligence comes into play, because I can sit here and I'm still a work in progress. You
And
know,
we all,
I speak to Zena all the time, and she just keeps telling me, man, how do I get you to forgive your mother for all the stuff and how the anger that you feel towards her? And, being back in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area for the last 2.5 months, it's still a work in progress. I haven't actually lived in this area for 22 years.
Okay.
I left when I was 15, about to be 16, came back, caught my charges, doing what was right, and then I left again and never looked back. So being back in a place where a lot of my traumas came from, it opened up some wounds that I thought I was through, but I'm not. But like I said, I'm still a work in progress. And I tell her that all the time. She said her statement was, "How can you hate somebody but love somebody else?" And I
Mm.
said, "Because the way I feel about my mother is not the way that I feel about you. You can feel hate for somebody else and work through those emotions and love somebody else just because you dislike and you really feel hatred towards somebody who didn't treat you the way they were supposed to, because that's a parent's job. That's a mother and a father's job to protect their children, but I wasn't protected as a child.
So there's still anger from that standpoint, not knowing that, and this is just me looking from the outside looking in, it's also kind of what you needed for your story.
Agreed.
It, it,
I completely agree with you. And Zena tells me all the time, use your traumas for your stories. And I said, yeah. And those traumas are still sitting there, but I'm working through them. So all of my first novel, Entangled Desires, is available on Amazon.
okay.
That book, that novel, that story, each character is me.
Mm, I like that.
Well, each male character is me. Uh, and they come from stories and situations that I've actually lived through. Uh, I have a mental health book that I'm working on for Black men called Inside Out or Outside In,
Blessings.
and that story is about three men, three minority men that come from different walks of life, but are dealing with the same internal issues. And that book comes from me and two of my friends that I grew up with, different walks of life, but still dealing with some of the same things internally. Just because one person goes through a different journey doesn't mean they don't understand how I feel. But the problem is, especially in our community, we don't speak to other men the way
We,
we are supposed to,
we
the
need to
way
talk.
we need to.
Communication is key.
Exactly. So the good thing that I love about what Xena created here in this house that I grew up in was, this is a house for mainly men, especially single fathers. And I believe that was one of the purposes of me being here, being an inspiration, being here to check up on these men. Because as men, we don't talk. We were always taught to keep everything inside.
Mm-hmm.
But what benefits do that have for our eternal organs and our spiritual organs? Nothing. Because if we continue to hold this anger in and resentment or whatever traumas we're going through,
You explode. It's like a pimple.
exactly, it's like a
So
bomb.
yeah, it's like a pimple. All the pressure just build up until it's popped. And what happened? It need to be popped to release pressure.
Right.
And what happens is when you open up to other men, the Bible says iron sharpens iron. You can figure out how to gain or how to overcome what you deal with when you have conversations where you open up to other people, but you can't, you're supposed to be vulnerable. There's a vulnerability in life. Most of us walk around like this. You can't get nothing in, you can't get nothing out. But if you open up, what happens? Yes, A lot of pain, everything can come in, but you also can get healed that way. And when you open up, it's not so and then you can be hurt because you're supposed to feel. You're supposed to feel good, bad. That's supposed to know contrast to all of life. This is how you get the full experience of life, having your negatives, having your positives. Or in I guess it would be the Asian culture, the zing and the zang. But you have to have it all to understand the fullness of life. I can't just have none but good times. I need a bad time to balance this thing out so I can understand, hold up, I can appreciate my goodness because of that situation. But if
And
I never,
you can give grace.
because I understand that's what I needed it when I didn't get it. I think I just heard a pastor say this morning, he was talking about if you was on a job and you had a bad boss or what you perceived as a bad boss, what happens is when you become a boss, you know not how to act. You don't act the same way that person act to you because now you know how to give grace. And this is how it happens. But if I never understand it, I may mess around and follow in the footsteps of that person and be that same nasty individual.
I completely agree.
But back to your books. So you wrote how many books?
One completed,
Completed.
3 in process.
Okay.
My children's series is actually in process as well. The illustrations are being worked on. Uh, I have I have Entangled Desires, A Tale of Love and Betrayal. I have the sequel to that, which is The Awakening. I have Inside Out, Outside In, which is my men's mental health. I have a psychological thriller that I'm working on, which is called The Shadows of the Mind. Obviously, it goes back to mental health as well. And then I have a 10-volume series that I'm working on for my autobiography on what the I'm thinking outside of the box again. Usually autobiographies are one book and they don't really, tell the progress or the process that they've gone through to overcome things. So I broke it down to what that problem was, the
And the lesson
story.
that was learned.
Exactly. And I give the solution and ways to actually move forward and get through these situations. Um, and, I also have one because we speak about equality all the time. But what is equal in this world? Nobody is equal. Men aren't women, women aren't men. Black is not, not looked at as we are supposed to. Then everything is such separation. So I came up with a book that is going to hopefully change the world. It's called The Double Standard.
Hmm.
This world was built on double standards.
Mm-hmm.
They made laws so that way we couldn't do what they did to actually gain control of this land.
Mm-hmm.
So everywhere you go, you'll see double standards.
Everywhere.
Women wanting somebody to listen to them but not listening to others. Men wanting somebody to be there for them but not willing to be there for others. So this book will show what the double standard is and how to change the double standard into the standard.
I like that.
Because when we start looking at people as human beings, not because of the color of their skin, not because of their sexual orientation, not because they have different body parts, and we start realizing that, hey, if I cut this person, they
They bleed.
bleed
They bleed.
red just like I do, then we can start changing the world because it doesn't matter about black or white. It doesn't matter about somebody's sexual orientation. Hey, it doesn't matter who people love, but they are still human beings. That is what it boils down to. And then so race is a social construct. It was created to divide. And the moment everybody starts realizing that division is only making things worse, the world becomes better, because being a human being is what we all are.
That is it.
And then if you actually go back, white, black, guess what? It all goes back to different shades of wheat. So we all come from the same place. We just have different skin tones. So why are we continuously working on division instead of coming together?
The
That
book will
is,
change the world.
and that's what I'm hoping for.
Most,
To be able to get a woman's perspective on the double standard as well, and to get other people's experiences and insights on it is something that I'm working on as well. Because if we continue to go down this road,
it never fixes it.
not even just it never fixes it, it's only going to get worse.
Hmm.
We've had so many people in this world wanting to do better and make a better stance for the next generation. But it just seems like each generation after us is just getting worse. You got more killings, more black on black crime, more racism, more racists and bigots that are just being outspoken now,
You got more white
and
on white crime too.
more white on white crime. But the biggest double standard that I have is the fact that us as black people, we use a word that was made to be negative and attempted to change it positive, and then get mad at other people for using the same word that we use.
Well, I don't have a problem with it for one reason. One, we learned to use it and we started using it as a term of endearment amongst one another. I understand most people say we shouldn't have done this. However, we took the sting back. And while we choose not to allow them to say it, and only us, it would be like us calling a Spanish person out of their name.
I agree,
Like women are calling each other bees right now. But guess what? Men can't say it.
but that's the double standard.
To me, I don't see it as a double standard due to the fact that you should be able to call yourself, you and your people, whatever you want to.
Agreed.
Nobody else should be able to do it because guess what? If especially if your forefathers called my people this in a negative standard, I know you what's deep down in the meaning behind what you say may not mean what I say.
I agree. But this is where I can go the opposite way. Do you see, and I can say this because I am part
Yeah,
Hispanic. Do you see our Hispanic brothers and sisters saying, "What's up, my spick?" You know what I mean? Like,
I hear them calling each other. I've been in
me,
prison. I've been in prison, and I've heard them call each other like some derogatory stuff that they wouldn't want us to say.
agreed. But prison is completely different because I've heard it. And that's where I was like, the difference between being behind the wall and being in society. I've never heard anybody say it like that, and say that in society. Me
Well,
personally.
they have some other stuff that they say amongst one
Oh,
another
I
that's
agree.
negative to remember. It's the same thing. It's just you have never heard certain words, but they wouldn't want you to call them certain stuff that they call each other. You see what
Agreed.
I'm saying? So that's the reason why I say for us, it's something that we chose to use as a term of endearment and swap it. We still creating words. If you think about what switch mean, if you think about what other things mean, we still creating words. And when you look at it from that standpoint, how we are still creators of words and things that we're doing, for me, I'm okay with it. As much as it seems like a negative, we chose as a community to use this, and nobody else should use it. That's just the way I feel.
And I respect your opinion because
Yeah,
everybody has one.
yeah,
How you feel is not always going to be how I feel.
most definitely.
And that's where you said it's communication.
Yes,
Just
communicate.
because we disagree on something doesn't mean it has to go out into a all out war,
No,
because I do see where you're coming from.
and I with you.
And that's where I'm just like, I don't know. So everybody who I speak to, every once in a while, somebody will say, "Hey, what's up, my nigga?" You know what I mean? And I'm like, "What's up?" I don't say anything because that's part of their vocabulary. And even every once in a while, I catch myself saying it when I'm listening to certain songs. But just me personally, I look
You don't
back
use
at I don't look like, if I'm talking to somebody, I don't use
it.
it,
Yeah.
because I look back at what they wanted us to do, and they wanted us to be separated, and they wanted us to act like niggers. They
Hmm.
wanted us to. And the problem that I see with it is, yes, taking back that word and making it positive was a good thing. But most of the time, especially in this new generation, it's not a good thing because they out there doing dumb shit. Excuse my language.
Well, that is more like a psychological construct. So it's a programming. Most people are putting this program in people's heads. YNs, YNs. The more that you hear it, the more that you think about it. And then now you see, hold up, they ain't doing nothing but negative.
But that's not
But
true.
that's what I'm trying to tell you. But it's the programming that they put out there for us to see. Where I know different, you know different. There's a bunch of young people, young black people who are going to college more, males and females. There's a young black people who are doing a little bit of everything, getting trades, the whole nine, writing books, everything. But they only put out there
The
the
negative.
ones, the negative. It's up to us to fight with positive. It's up to us, not even fight. I ain't got to fight you. It's up to us to just expose the positive young people. Change the narrative by us taking over the algorithm, not
Agree.
allowing them to take it over because
I
they'll do it.
completely agree.
So, um, if you will, share a little bit about, there's a few things I want you to do. Share where they can find your book, how they can get this autograph if they want that. Also, give me a word of wisdom.
So you can find me on Instagram at officially Tyree, or on Facebook, Tyree Whitworth. You can go to Amazon, order the book. If you're in the DC, Maryland area, by all means, I would be willing to come out and sign it. Or you can DM me personally, and you can pay me, I can sign it, and I can ship it out. I can bring it to you personally, or you can always keep up to where I'm at. I'll be out there in the DC area very soon, walking around selling the book, doing what I have to do to make history and change the game. Um, as far as everything else, what else did you want?
A word of wisdom.
Word of wisdom. Hmm,
And it's for anybody who may be start writing, somebody who may be going through a hard time, anything, starting a business. It
I
doesn't
got you.
matter what it is about, it's just a word of wisdom that may inspire and encourage someone on their journey.
Ignore the outsiders. Follow what you want to do, because just because what everybody else is doing doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. Be who you are, and you'll start actually learning what you're meant to be.
Mm. Blessing.
Blessings.
So, my name is Carlos Walker. This is Art and Hustle, Black Authors Matter. And this is Tyree Whitworth. Blessing.